What was that all about? Okay, now, hello, my name's Chris Quinlan, it's Melbourne Musos. Welcome to another episode. What I'd like to do tonight is actually talk about pretty much the opposite of what I was talking about last episode, where I was talking about the right hand with the right foot. Tonight I want to talk a little bit about the left foot. Now, one of the things about the left foot, especially in different genres like jazz or different funky business, is sometimes you leave the hi-hat for the rest of the band, as they say. Now, what that usually means is that if you're playing a jazz rhythm, whatever happens, 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1, 2, 3, 4, you could be playing some different kind of business. Stuff that doesn't make sense at all. But the 2 and the 4 is always happening. 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 1, 2, 3, 4. See, it's still 2/4, you see. So some pretty crazy figures over the top, not making much sense at all, but sort of half deliberately so, because not to pose off or anything like that. I mean, sorry, I hope that didn't come across like that. Just crazy stuff, but the whole thing, if I just did this, right? I'm just a kid in a toy shop, okay, doing stuff like that. It has no reference, it has no meaning. But the thing about it is, if I put meaning to it by starting it off with, say, a blues, or if you know that it's going to be a 32-bar song in a jazz kind of context, and say if I'm doing this, it has more reference. Now, all that hopefully had a little bit more meaning than just banging and crashing, because of intrinsically the hi-hat on 2 and 4. That's one of the main things about that kind of playing. Now, if I was to get more in a funky side of things, I think I'm quoting an old Billy Cobham album there, Funky Thide of Sings. Is that it? 1976. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Had George Duke on keyboards, I think, and the Brecker brothers on horns. Yeah, there you go. Completely discombobulated. Okay, so what happens is, if I start playing a bit funky, that's fine. That's cool. If I go over to my China hats, trash hats if you will, that's cool as well. It's got a different bit of a sound. I might do that for the opening, go across to here for the verse or the chorus or some such thing. What happens if I put the 2 and 4 here, but double time it so it gives you the idea of all the ands? So it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It gives a bit of a different kind of an edge to it, doesn't it? So that's what can happen when you put your left foot into different kinds of ideas. One of the other things that happened in, say, the jazz realm in the 60s, and I did touch on this last episode, is the fact that Tony Williams, one of the great drummers, God bless him, rest his soul, basically started when he was actually quite young with Miles Davis, start to put the hi-hat essentially 4 on the floor. So instead of bass drum 4 on the floor, which we all sort of know about really in your drumming, all you have to do is listen to Akadaka for that, or Bon Jovi, put your hi-hat on 4 on the floor. So you'd have this. And that kind of 4 on the floor hi-hat, it's like you're just pumping the hi-hat, leads into a couple of other things that can be thrown back into some classic rock kind of things. If you just go back to rock and put your 4 on the floor, on the hi-hat there, you're starting to get into the styles of some of the legends like John Bonham and people like that, as far as some of the, let's say, tricks of the trade to keep their, what gave them their bounce and all of that sort of stuff. One of the tricks with John Bonham is the fact that he would, this is one of the classic John Bonham licks. A lot of people played it, but John Bonham made it his own. It's this little chestnut here. I call it the lick of the century. That kind of stuff there. Oh, fantastic. If you couldn't do that in the 70s, you were nothing. If you could do it, you were something. Okay, so what goes on with that is that it was the hi-hat on all your common beats there. All your main beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you did essentially play triplets, right? So that's one of the things about keeping your hi-hat nice and solid. What I've done there is shown you 2 main things for this first episode, or first segment of this episode. I'm quoting Ed Sullivan. I think welcome to the show. Yeah, Ed Sullivan, 1960s. I'm not sure, but anyway. Hi-hat on 2 and 4, and then hi-hat 4 on the floor. Both of them can be used in jazz, or they originated in jazz, but I've also given you some funky things, and I've also given you some classic rock things, a la mentioning the great John Bonham. So I hope you get something out of that with the left foot. Okay.